what is the true seriousness or a true sincerity? Like, how do we find it?
You don't find it. It is sincere in itself for you to say that it is lacking. That's more sincere than the vast majority of people.
Hi.
Go ahead.
Do successful people understand truth better than unsuccessful people?
It depends, number one, what you mean by success. And number two, a person who has reached the truly elite levels of his craft, they likely understand some truths with regard to getting there in that particular craft far better than those who don't.
Hi.
Hello.
Is truth gradual or sudden?
It's a good question. I think what is gradual is the desire to seek the truth. But when the truth arrives, it is sudden. But it isn't one truth. It's many truths, according to the situation.
Hi. Thank you for taking my question. My question is, can it be possible to live a life of freedom and truth without first having achieved financial independence?
The only way that would happen is if you were willing to live in a cave or a jungle or somewhere where you didn't have to sustain yourself or a family. Then it would be possible. But if you live in the world and if you live in society, feeding your stomach is far more critical and acute than feeding your soul.
Right. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Good evening. Is there anything to be learned from elite and mastery level people?
No.
Thank you.
Hello. What is the special speaking that occurs when one begins to live in possibilities rather than knowledge or concepts?
That's a very intellectual question. I'm not sure I even understand what you're asking.
Hello?
Hello?
Hey, Kapil. I recently found myself in a remarkable state of flow and have had a bunch of anxiety show up around falling out and losing it. Curious if you have thoughts around managing, sort of sitting on the wave, but then having apprehension of the wave crashing.
So you look at the flow as a pleasure experience. Human beings are experience chasers. That's why they meditate and do mindfulness and practice all these nonsensical prescriptions. So the state of flow isn't a place to try to live. It is the understanding that where these things come from, as opposed to chasing them like a pleasure chase.
Hi, Kapil. Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
How would you define the difference between peace of mind and peace from mind?
Well, there is no such thing as peace of mind. There's only peace from mind.
Hi, Kapil. How are you?
Good.
Thank you for taking my question. Why do I feel that my heart is not in sync with my mind?
The heart can never be in sync with the mind. If the heart is wild, the mind is fabricated.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, I hope I'm audible. My question is simply, how do I make myself more focused and productive? And
you can't make yourself more of anything. That's all self-development and self-improvement nonsense. You can't make yourself anything. It's about learning why you're not.
Hi, Kapil. Hope you're doing well.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a difference between the flow state and death?
Well, I don't know. I mean, what's the difference? Are you going to die in order to compare? I mean, there's no practicality to that question, so it's irrelevant.
Hi, Kapil. I wanted to ask, reading Borges, I found this quite interesting that he said he cannot... reading Jorge Luis Borges, I found this question that I've been thinking about a lot. He says that I can imagine a universe without space, but not without time.
Time is not truth.
Hi, my question is, what's the relationship between mathematics and truth? Thank you.
It's a fair question. I suppose that mathematics does reveal some truth, but I don't really know right now to go into which context that would be.
Good evening. How are you?
Good.
Why is it that all these billionaires, whenever we ask them a question they say, follow your passion with all this bullshit. And it seems like passion is never the answer. Thank you.
Well, number one, I sense a tone of animosity against the wealthy. Number two, everything has a context behind it. So just telling someone to follow your passion, it isn't. There's no detail in that. I think the greatest problem comes when, for the person having sought advice from them, there's no advice and mentorship. Those things go nowhere.
I don't have a question. I want to expose myself to more of your writings.
Okay.
The private discourses. Since 2018, I think I've sent emails consistently.
Well, then maybe your pledge wasn't accepted. I don't know. I get thousands of emails.
No.
Hey, so there are situations where I feel profound pain, and I want to remember that for the next time, so that I sort of don't put myself in that situation or trust that person, etc. But every time, I just seem to forget how I feel. I can intellectually know what it feels like, but yet I'm okay to forgive and start afresh. And
Okay.
I just
Are you ready for the truth? Are you ready for the truth?
Yeah.
I don't think. Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay. Any relationship that you have for the rest of your life will bring you far greater pain than joy.
Okay. Thank you.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi. Don't you think that hope adds meaning to life?
Wait a minute. Stop. When you begin with "don't you think," that sounds like you want me to agree with something. And I have no interest in agreeing with anything. So that isn't a comment. I mean, that isn't a question. That's a comment in the form of a question.
Hi.
Hello.
Why every relationship we have will bring more pain than joy?
Well, you have to examine your own experience. And if you have found in your own experience that isn't true, then you should completely disregard the words.
Is there a question that you're searching for in life, and what would that question be?
No, my life is devoted to the truth.
So I suppose my question would be, if I believe I'm the one, I don't understand what I'm waiting for, and I don't know if I'm waiting for like the next life or whatever iteration, but I don't know why I'm not. It's almost like there's a difference between knowing and doing the thing, and that's something I can't reconcile, if that makes sense.
Yeah, doing is irrelevant. The doings all happen by themselves. Your level of sincerity and seriousness has not reached a fever pitch.
What is the best example that you can be for a child?
I would say devoted to discovering your own self-conflicts.
Yeah, hi. Thanks for giving me opportunity. So my question is, does neutrality help oneself to become detached to love, hate, or maybe good or bad?
No, because that's just a trick. That's just a prescription.
Thanks for inviting. How do you balance ambition and the search for truth in your life?
You don't balance anything. You are moved by the thing that you're moved by. There is no balance.
I understand that I am insincere. Understanding what will make me sincere, Master?
The genuine understanding that you're insincere is your only hope of one day becoming sincere. But
Sorry, Master, I didn't get you.
Understanding that you are insincere is your only hope of one day possibly becoming sincere. But if you chase sincerity, you'll never find it.
Hey, Kapil.
Hello?
My question is, how is truth related to freedom?
Well, there can only be freedom in truth. There can't be freedom in lies.
Hi, Kapil. How do you live in a society and still be okay with the truth? Thank you.
Well, there's no how to anything. One doesn't have to leave society to discover the truth. One has to discover what moves him or her the most. And if it is society, then it is.
Hi, my question is, how do I prioritize when there are many things that move me?
All things don't move you equally.
My question is, what would you want a 23-year-old, or what truth would you want a 23-year-old to know?
I wouldn't want anyone to know anything.
All right, thank you.
Hello,
Kapil.
Hello.
Hi. I have a question about the talk you gave about prescriptions. So, how do you balance living in a world where there is an equal importance of structured thinking versus unstructured?
What do you care what the world is? It's all about what comes from you. It's all about what matters to you.
Hi, Bill. I wanted to know why do you do these sessions, or what do you do for these sessions?
I have no idea. They just kind of do themselves.
Hi, Kapil. Can pain and truth coexist?
It's a good question. Usually when one recognizes or one sees the truth, it is so wildly counter to what one has always believed that it often does cause pain. And in fact, it's so uncomfortable which is one of the central reasons why humans aren't interested in it.
Hi, Kapil.
Hello.
My question for you is, what is the role of humor and laughter in a serious person's life?
Well, it seems like you're asking for permission to have humor and laugh. Is that correct?
Yes, I've read a lot of your stuff, and I just always am curious if that's
so. Humor and laughter mean something to you, and there's no right or wrong or good or bad. And if that means something to you, then it does. But truth is not about socialization, and truth is not about happiness, and truth is not about pleasure. But having said all of that, none of that means anything. All that matters is what's actually beating inside your heart.
Hi, Kapil. My parents are going to die someday. And I fear that day very much. How do I?
There's no how do you do anything.
If one is serious about finding the truth, how much can one factor in truths such as mathematics and hard sciences, or is that a subjective search?
I mean, science can reveal some truths that are related to the science, but science cannot reveal ultimate truths. Science can look inside a microscope and discover the microbes that are responsible for a particular disease, and that would be a truth. But science cannot discover the cosmos, and science cannot discover the nature of the mind and the nature of truth and what human beings truly are and what freedom truly is. Those are way beyond the realm of the scientist or the scientific mind. Well, if they were those things, they wouldn't be truth.
Hello. Thanks for inviting me up to the panel again. I was just wondering, how do you know when you have conquered your mind, or like, how do you know when
you're in complete freedom, total freedom?
Is everything it is as it should be, the same as the truth?
Everything is everything for a reason. Whatever is in a person's life is, and that the thing that is, and therefore it is truth. That which is perceived, that which is interpreted, that which is viewed, that thing that is, when it is viewed as being this or that, or good or bad, or right or wrong, and needs to be changed or improved, or it's really, that is where the untruth comes in.
Yes, so I understood it correctly.
I didn't know if you answered my question while you were on mute, or you hated it. My question was, in a finite amount of lifespan a person has, what is the purpose seeking?
There is no purpose. There's no purpose. If you have a choice of whether to seek truth or not, then it isn't for you.
It's taken me a little while, but I'm starting to realize the futility of things. And I was just wondering if it's a chase just to seek more truth.
It can be, if you're seeking truth in order to find pleasure. If you're seeking truth because you think it's good for you or healthy or it's going to lead you to some happiness.
No, it's not that. It's just automatic at this point.
Okay, well then, doesn't sound like a chase.
Hi, I had one question. Like when you say like your mind is not you. So when I get tired, like I often get tired, I can't distinguish whether it's me or it's my mind. If it's my mind, I turn out to be really tired.
Yeah, that's a good question. Fatigue is all in the mind. Now there absolutely is bodily fatigue as well, but neither the body or the mind is you. The you is an entirely different topic.
Hi, Kapil. In one of your tweets, you mentioned that truth will be paradoxical. Can you please elaborate on that? Like, what would that experience be?
Everything that you believe and everything that you think and everything that you have an opinion about and all that you've been taught and all the things that society has told you and all the things that the people in your profession have told you and all the things that the experts have told you and all the self-help books and all the self-development books and all the spirituality and all the gurus and all the media, it's all nonsense. Truth is entirely opposite of all of those things. Therefore, it's paradoxical.
Can you describe the state of freedom? How does one know they're in that state?
And when one is in a state, when one has reached freedom, there is no anxiety, there's no suffering, there's no conflict, there's no pain.
Is experience truth?
No.
Do you have to destroy the self completely to attain freedom?
You can't destroy what doesn't exist.
With freedom, there's no anxiety, there's no conflict, there's no pain. But is it that the perception of those things doesn't exist anymore and we still perceive them in that way? Or are they just gone?
No, there's no reason for them to exist. That's why they don't exist.
Do you need to experience a certain level of suffering in order to have the overwhelming desire for the truth?
There's no such thing as you need to. There's no rules. Typically that does happen.
Hey Kapil, thank you for taking my question. My question is the truth that we seek while living in this materialistic world and what we're discussing now, could it be mapped to maybe moksha or nirvana or mukti from Eastern philosophies? Because even they speak of eternal bliss and being completely free from ourselves and everything around the world.
Those are just different names for it. Mukti and nirvana, these are all different words for ultimate freedom.
Hi, I wanted to ask your thoughts on being a father and how that works into the seeking for truth, whether they can coexist or if I'm sort of better waiting until the end of my householding days to get on the road.
Seeking truth doesn't mean that you need to go live in a cave. If there's anything at all that can be left for a child, there is nothing more valuable than truth.
I have a question. I think it's two, but it's related. Is there such thing as soulmate? And how do you know when you've met someone for you?
I think that's largely a cultural creation. But maybe there is. I'm not sure.
Hi. Why have humans come up with the concepts and rules such as right and wrong, good and evil?
Well, society itself is just a concept. All it knows is intellectualizations and categorizations and school and designations and textbooks and labeling things this and that and segregating and separating things into different compartments in which they teach you different things which are all interrelated, but they're treated as if they're all different. So human beings just know intellectualization. That's all that they're interested in. No one's interested in the truth. Therefore, they occupy themselves by creating false concepts in order to live in the world and live in illusion.
So I had a question. In my life, I feel like I have about 10 things that I don't want to do before I can do the 2 things that I do want to do. Is there any way to live to where everything you want to do, you can do?
It's always been that way. You don't have to do anything.
Hey, appreciate it, Dr. Kapil. Do you believe in clairvoyance, clairaudience, and claircognizance or precognition, or no?
It's not a matter of whether I believe in it or not. I think such things do exist. I think it's been demonstrated that some humans have those capabilities, and quite honestly, it may very well be that all humans have that capability. However, it is it's covered over by living society.
I have a question regarding where truth is realized or actualized. If you say that the mind and the self are illusion, where is truth realized? Is it in the mind?
For you,
in the self of the body?
Well, for you, truth would be realized in first seeing the fallacy behind the notion of you trying to believe what I say. That you made this statement that I say that truth is not in the mind and it's not in the self. I think the fact that you're taking that on faith or on belief, that's untruth. You must examine that for yourself to see if you see that it in fact is not in the mind and not in the self, as opposed to just piggyback on what I said.
What is not a concept? What is it that we are
That's
like
an excellent
chatting?
question. That's
And
probably
is this also a
probably the best question of the night so far. You're precisely correct, and the fact that you have asked that question raises the possibility that you actually could be ready to discover the truth. Everything is a concept. There is nothing in your life that isn't a concept, from happiness to pain to joy to mind to relationship to better and good and bad and wrong and right. Everything that a societal human being knows, that thinks he knows and thinks about and considers and dwells upon and does and opines and believes and chats about, it's all concepts.
So if you scrape everything, right? Like literally everything, like the basic thing that I guess most, what is it? Let's just say like I have a fear and I sort of got rid of it, or if not got rid of it, but sort of, it's no longer there, let's say. And there's another layer though, like I'm working for something and I got rid of the fear when I'm working for something. But again, the thing that I'm working for itself is another concept. So like, how do you, I don't actually ask how, but
what you must come to the realization about is why you are pursuing the thing that you are pursuing. Not that you have to give it a good reason, but there doesn't need to be a why. That's not why you look for the reason that you're doing it. It isn't to find a purpose. The only reason that you would examine why is to discover that if it is a pleasure chase. That's what you want to discover, because if you discover that, then you know that it will lead only to pain. Good question.
Everyone have an organic desire to seek truth if they weren't subject to social conditioning and things like that?
Good question. If a human being was raised in a jungle, he would live a natural life. He would live off the land. He would not be exposed to constructs. The more human beings that a person comes across, and the more societal elements that a person is exposed to, the further and further he moves away from truth, and the more certain it becomes that untruth will be his permanent state.
Hi. Based on what you said with regards to all these constructs in society, it makes me think that searching for truth means getting rid of those concepts.
No. If one searches for truth, if he does it because he should, he's wasting his time. If he does it because he has to, then he has to. But the truth isn't the end. The truth isn't trying to get away from anything. The truth is actually the only thing that exists.
Hello, Dr. Gupta.
Hello.
Question about, is truth really an endpoint, or is it really a gateway to a lot of other gateways?
That's a conceptual question. I mean, it has no meaning. Truth is the only thing that leads to an endpoint.
But how does a person really understand if they've really reached the truth? Because it might be just disguised as another thing that you conceived or perceived as truth so far.
There are some things within a human being that has the tentacles and the receptors to know, that is beyond the intellect, and that is beyond the scientific mind, and that is beyond questioning, discussion.
Do the free and the truth knowers, do they use concepts and constructs as tools, knowing that they're using them as tools?
No, they don't have any need for constructs because because they know the direct truth.
Hi, Dr. Gupta. Thank you for having me to the stage.
Sure.
Curious to know if you had any insight into the aspect of unlearning as it relates to the path towards truth. Thank you.
What do you really want to ask?
I guess I might describe it as, how do you define going back and forth between understanding where truth is and finding that point of knowing when to go to the next stage?
Oh, I don't think it's about knowing what the truth is. I think it's about knowing where all the falsities are. And one has so many falsities in his life that he need only look there. And in discovering what is false, he will make his way towards truth.
My question is in my bio. It's a practical question, but I really have a problem with that. How does one do that?
I don't have time to read your bio. Do you have a question?
I do. I don't believe that anything I've done or anything I'm doing is my identity. How do I then describe myself in something as practical and socially constructed as a bio on a social networking app? So it goes deeper than just that question. It goes to, I think, maybe what we're talking about. Can you help me with
you sound like you're from South Africa?
I am.
Yeah. So nothing that you do is who you truly are. Everything that a human being thinks about himself is self-image. So that self-image isn't reality. If you're asking about how to write a good bio, that's irrelevant. But nothing that you do is who you really are.
I understand that. And yet my preference would be to simply not write a bio. But if I don't write a bio, then in terms of what is sort of expected socially, then you are nothing. And then you don't get a chance to engage or... Do you understand what I'm trying?
If you want to engage, you will engage. If you don't want to engage, you won't engage. If you want to write a bio, you'll write one. If you don't want to write one, you won't one. There's no right or wrong answer here.
Dr. Gupta, I'm very interested in knowing what is truth, or what is your truth? Like, how does one find one?
It's the genuine longing for truth in one's heart. It isn't a geographical location.
Hi. Is truth the same for everyone?
There are some universal truths, yes.
Yeah, you can hear me?
Yes.
So what is the point of searching for the truth when you can just live with happiness in servitude of others?
If you live in happiness and servitude of others, there is no reason for you to look for the truth. There's no reason for anyone to look for the truth. If you are satisfied with happiness, then you can continue to be.
What are the universal truths?
There are many. There's no... I can't. This is not the forum to go into all the truths. It would just be intellectual to list all the truths. They won't do anything for you. The only thing that has any value at all is the genuine longing for truth.
Hi, Doctor. Thanks for taking my question.
Uh-huh.
Since there's an ultimate truth, why are we even born into a universe where our mind traps us into this illusion, away from the truth from the minute we're born?
I have no idea why we're born, but when a child is born, he actually is filled with truth. It is living in the society that makes him a lie.
Hi, Doctor. Thanks for taking my question.
Yes.
I just wanted to ask, is believing in something just a type of prescription?
Absolutely. The reason belief has no relevance with regard to truth. Belief is the enemy of truth.
So to start seeking truth, does one have to give up all their beliefs?
One does not have to give up anything. If one is more enamored with their beliefs than they are with truth, they are better off staying with their beliefs.
Hi, thanks for taking the question. Do we always need someone in our lives to rely on, or are we conditioned to stay alone?
There's no such thing as need, and if you rely upon someone, you will suffer.
Hi, thank you for taking my question. I wanted to know, how can we allow ourselves to come to a place of genuinely wanting to seek the truth?
Well, if the desire for that is genuine, then there's no way that it won't happen.
I find that my desire is not genuine. It's a place for me to feel happiness again.
Yes.
And so then how do I rid myself of?
You don't rid yourself of anything. What you have just described is the truth. That's where you genuinely are. And one can only go from where they genuinely are.
So does that mean that I forever have to accept that this is where I am? Or is it is constant surrendering? Would that help me get to a place of genuineness? It's like a backwards question. Like, I know that's not even genuine.
No, you are desperate to ask what to do. And every human being is desperate to ask what to do. Because the doing is the only thing that they've been bastardized and institutionalized and conditioned to do. They don't know anything else.
So then surrendering.
And surrendering is also a bastardization, because that's also an action.
Okay.
It's an activity. It's a trick. It's a prescription. It's a method. It's a technique. It's a hope. It's an austerity. It's a ritual. What must be understood is that your genuine expression of where you are is the closest way to get to where you genuinely want to go.
Is truth a universal concept, or is it a subjective experience?
It is neither a concept nor an experience.
Hello.
Hello.
I wanted to ask, I'm noticing that I'm seeking approval from others, even when I approve of myself in that situation. And as I wait for their feedback, I feel anxious and scared, even though I know there's nothing to be anxious or scared about.
Well, you don't really know that there's nothing to be anxious or scared about. That's why you're anxious and scared.
But isn't the worst thing that could happen is I feel badly about...
Intellectual. It's all intellectual. What's in your heart will live itself out. Intellectualization. Just playing video games.
Namaste, Dr. Gupta.
Hello.
My question is on the follow-up in the last answer you gave. Is trying to figure out the intellectualization?
Is trying what?
Trying to figure out. I mean, that's what we do, trying to figure out everything. So is that intellectualization?
Yes.
Okay.
Hi. Is listening to your conscience a form of programming or the path?
I have no idea what it means to listen to your conscience.
The voice in your head.
Your conscience that you did something wrong?
Yeah.
No, that's all mind.
It's all program. All right. Thank you.
Can truth exist in the mind?
No.
Hi. As opposed to, say, 100 years ago, where the world was fairly static and one may discover a few key truths and you could rely on them, how do you reconcile the fact that in an ever-changing world that we currently have, we're in this like constant futile effort to discover the new truths and just to keep up?
There's no humans who are trying to discover the truth.
But I guess discovering truth for oneself, there is some element of it that's related to the external world that we're dealing with. I mean, you alluded to universal truths before, but I guess like truths of any given time period that you're in.
And those are not truth. Those are just ways of getting along in the world. Those are just ways of surviving in society. They have nothing to do with truth. Human beings are not looking for the truth. They're just looking for more comfort and happiness and socialization and rah-rah and just nonsense. Humans aren't looking for truth.
Even in the pursuit of, say, science and math?
Those things are just looking for scientific explanations of societal phenomenon. And while there is some utility to that, as I mentioned before, such as discovering the virus that causes a particular disease, in which case one can create an antidote for that. I mean, there's relevance to that. But those are very situational. Truth as a whole, truth as an end to all chases, truth as a path to freedom. Humans are looking for those things.
My question is, in some religions, it's a concept that we all have a calling or destiny, as they say. So is that also nonsense, or is there some truth to it?
That's a good question. I'm not sure what the reality is behind that. It could very well be true, but I'm not sure how relevant that is, because what is most immediately relevant to a person is what they feel inside, what they are driven to do, and that's something that they can wrap their arms around because it isn't conceptual.
So can we say the things that we are driven to do are ultimately bringing us to our destiny?
It depends what you mean by destiny. I mean, if you're driven to do it, you're driven to do it. You don't really have a choice. Hello?
The other day you said something about there is a destiny, and the whole thing about just believe in the process or follow the process as the goal itself.
I have never said believe in the process.
No.
Never said follow the process.
No. You rejected that idea.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it was very, very, very categorically rejecting that idea. But then you also said, yes, there is a destiny and there is a goal, there is a objective and a destination to get to. I'm just wondering if you can
destination and destiny are two different things, right? I mean,
not destiny. I'm sorry, I misspoke because I was thinking about the previous question.
Yes.
So you rejected the idea of investing completely in the process. You said there is an end point.
Yes.
And I'm just curious if you can expand upon that a little bit.
When you leave your house every day, do you get in the car and just drive down the street?
So I'm trying to contextualize with this within, let's say, for example, the whole notion of parenting. And I've heard in another podcast, you have a son who's a wonderful golfer. And I don't want to oversimplify because I know what you're getting at. Because I actually, for the first time, also felt that truth when you said there is when you get into the car, you need to know where you're going. I get it. I'm just contextualizing that as a parent, and your kid loves something like golf. Like, how do you kind of make sense of the process versus goal situation? That was my question.
Well, it depends what most moves you as a parent. Whatever in your parental role and your parental duty is most moving to you, then that's the thing that you will pursue. There's no such thing as the goal of being a good parent. And while that's very natural and logical, and everyone feels that way, there's no such thing as a good parent. There's no such thing as good. There's no medal. There's no plaque that someone gets. And when they get that plaque, then they know that they've been good. Every parent, you can describe 1,000 good that they've done, and you can describe 10,000 bad that they've done. So that doesn't go anywhere. So as a parent, the only thing that matters is the thing that most moves you on a day-to-day basis in your role as a parent, as opposed to following nonsensical prescriptions and ideals and concepts to live up to. That will make you schizophrenic.
Hi. Just want to know if what you mean by truth is the same as enlightenment?
I mean, enlightenment is a big word. Different people have different meanings for it. But enlightenment essentially could be described as freedom from the mind. And that absolutely is truth.
Hi, Kapil.
Hello?
My question is it true that to a degree we're always affected by our environment without a choice, no matter how well we may understand our mind?
Well, I'll tell you what is true, is that if that is okay with someone or not. You sound very resigned to that fact, and there's nothing wrong with that. But the fact that one is resigned to the fact that they will always be affected by their environment is different from someone else who might say that I don't really care if that's an easy thing to do or natural. I refuse to be affected by my environment, and neither is wrong and neither is right. I think some overall things to clear up is that the truth is far more about the longing for it than it is about discovering a piece of information. The truth is choiceless. And if it exists in someone's heart, it does. And if it doesn't, it doesn't. There is no judgment that it should. The best thing that a human being can do is to discover that he is living a lie. Not so that he can fix it, but if the person discovers that they are living a lie, it is only then that they have the opportunity to no longer live one. If they don't understand that they're living a lie, then they will believe that all the things that are happening around them and to them and within them and all the things in their head are reality. And there's no reason to divorce oneself from that belief. But if one has the natural proclivity to want to see the truth for what it truly is, then they have a chance.
You mentioned that when a child is born, they're full of truth. So does truth hold the power to release an adult from the prisons of childhood abuse? Thank you.
Absolutely. But once again, you're asking a question to use truth as a solution for something. And those things don't work because the truth isn't that cheap. To use truth as a tool to better your life is not going to get you anywhere. The truth is beyond what you conceive of as your life. And this truth is beyond making you happy. And the truth is beyond having you experience less suffering. All of those things will happen by themselves. But the truth is far more about the genuine desire for the truth for itself, as opposed to seeking it as an ulterior motive to achieve something else.
What do you believe your purpose in life is?
I have no purpose.
Thank you for taking my question, Dr. Gupta. Is the significance that we attach to human life or human living experience, is that a construct that we are mentally conditioned, or is it there?
If one believes that they have a life, then it's a construct. No one has a life. Well, a human being is life itself. And to turn it into two things, as the haver of the life and the life itself, that is the construct.
Hello, Dr. Kapil. I have a question. There's some things that happen to you in your life. There's some challenges that you come across. You overcome them, and then you come out of them successfully. But eventually, it's something that I've been through my life, and I'm going through my life. Still, those things, even if you've successfully come out of them, they pull you down in your mind, or as you engage in other challenging tasks in your life. How to sort of overcome that, even if you have the rationality to believe that you've already passed over it, but still it keeps coming back.
You've never passed over anything. You come through one challenge and there's about 17 million more waiting for you. So the idea that you've successfully come through something, it's a false notion. One's entire life, so long as it is lived in untruth, will be nothing but one challenge after another, and there will be no successfully getting through any of them.
Hi there. I was wondering what your view is on spending a large proportion of your time on a task that you know is counter to truth-seeking, something like seeking financial freedom, and spending a large proportion of your energy on that. Does that type of focus work in conflict with a life of truth?
Well, truth would be that that's what you're motivated to do. So there's no rules. There's no good and bad. There's no that's wrong and you should drop all that and seek the truth. Truth is that's what you're motivated by and that's what moves you. Therefore, you are free to do so. And to deny that would be untruth.
Hello, doctor.
Hello.
So, I'm curious, knowing what you know, what are you doing here and do you enjoy doing it? So what is your truth?
I don't enjoy doing it. I don't not enjoy doing it. I'm just doing it.
Hello there. How are you?
Good.
Fantastic. So I'm curious. Are you teaching the Heart Sutra using different language?
I'm not teaching any sutra. I'm not teaching any Buddhism. I'm not teaching any Zen. I'm not teaching anything to anybody.
Namaste, Dr. Gupta. Thank you for taking my question. Can you experience truth I guess when in a sleeping state?
It's a good question. I would say that the greatest truth of the sleeping state is that you're not aware of yourself, since the greatest lie in a person's life is themselves.
So that would be yes.
Why are you looking for a yes or no response? What was it?
I get the reason is because I feel that I have, and that, therefore I can always go. Once I have, that means that I can again. But it was during a sleeping state, and it only happened once.
Yeah, what you're chasing is an experience.
Okay.
And that won't get you anywhere.
Okay.
Because chasing an experience is just chasing pleasure.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure.
Of things. Do you think there's any point?
You broke up on me as soon as I came in.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Once you've recognized the impermanence of things, do you think there's any point in helping others do the same?
Well, if you're moved to help others, then you're moved to help others. But if you feel that helping others is something good that you have done, then it's a waste of time. In all honesty, helping others is a farce. Human beings cannot be helped. They can be inspired without trying to inspire them. And if they see something, and if they see someone that happens to inspire them, then they are. And that might light a fire in them to do for themselves. But help is largely a myth.
Thank you.
Hi. Is well-being highly correlated with truth and seeing truth?
Well-being is just a new age concept. It has no meaning.
It doesn't mean anything?
Well, to you, I think it does. Therefore, my response won't be beneficial to you.
I wanted to know, is experiencing a flow state as close to as we can get to experiencing the truth?
Flow state is just an experience, and it's a fleeting experience. Now, the problem with flow states is that they lead people to chase them. So I wouldn't look to a flow state as truth. I would look at it as a glimpse into what clarity feels like. But human beings chase it.
Yeah. What do you do when somebody really, really close to you as a family member hurts you financially, but on the other hand, you don't want to spoil your relationship with them?
There's never any answer to what do you do. The truth is that they did. And if you try to view it through the lens of trying to be good by keeping your mouth shut and being diplomatic, you will experience suffering. If you try to react to it by going after them, then you will experience suffering. That is the realization that must be had if you wish to have it.
Hi, thank you for having me up here. My question is, how important is it to release all fear, and how does one do so?
Nothing is important. It isn't important to do anything. If you feel compelled to do something, then you do. And if you don't, then you don't. But nothing is important.
So if one feels compelled, how would they go about releasing fear?
I don't know what that means, to release fear. As long as you live in the state of mind, you will always have fear.
So it's more of a shifting the mindset or shifting your perception.
No, you must be new to these parts. It isn't about shifting anything. It isn't about mindset. You are asking for prescriptions. You are asking for methodologies and techniques, and such things have no place in anything. They don't work. They work in terms of turning a nail or turning on a computer, but they have no relevance in the war that is the mind. Prescriptions and methodologies have no place in a serious person's life. They are complete dead ends. There is no how.
All of this, all that we are is something. And then what was the reason behind, what could be the reason behind something being from nothing?
I don't know why human beings exist, if that's what you're asking.
I have a difficulty in letting go of past. How can I do that?
You can't do it.
Why do you say so?
Have you tried?
I have tried.
Did it work?
No.
And you can work on it for the next 50 years, and you will never be able to do it, because you are trying to do it through a method.
My question is, how do we know that we've found understanding?
There's no how do we know. If you understand, then you understand. It becomes clear to you. There's no scientific method there's no light that goes off in some room. I mean, you just know. There is something within a human being which knows.
Would you mind elaborate more on your own truth and understanding of this concept of all is mind and everything else is mental?
Well, I don't think there's anything to elaborate on. It sounds to me that isn't in your experience, nor do you relate to that, nor do you believe it. Not that you should.
I just wanted to ask how to be a better public speaker. Thank you.
I think I did a discourse on that somewhere. There's number one, anyone who looks to try to be better at something is wasting their time. It's about getting to where you want to go, as opposed to trying to be better. And as for how to be better, then that's just adding illusion to illusion.
So I think that I was suffering for a while because I failed to recognize the lack of sincerity in most people throughout the world. And so then after realizing that and looking back at the things you write, it really resonated with me. I'm now hopeful that we could see a significant rise in sincerity in general, essentially what you would say is people that are actively looking for the truth. Do you think that's possible or likely?
Yeah, where this question is headed is in the direction of complete untruth. There is no we. There's no group anything. Everyone is the masses. There's only any attempt to look at the we as a collective is a waste of time. It is simply an avoidance of oneself. There's only what's inside you, not we. Something else that must be understood, not as a compulsion, but to the person to whom it speaks. And it isn't a good thing if it does speak to them. Is that wherever you go in this society, in this world, even if you look at chat rooms and such, it's all full of drivel. It's all full of socialization. It is all an attempt to talk about menial things, and not that it's better to talk about intellectual things. But everything in a human being's life is to pass the time. This is what human beings do. They pass the time. If one examines his or her own life, naturally they might have a job, or they might have somewhere to punch a clock, or they might have to go to the office, or even if they're the CEO, they have to show their face. And I suppose such things are necessities for some people. But even the things that they do at the so-called workplace and what they do outside of it, it's all chores. It's all putting out fires. It's all relief from pain. It is all search for pleasure. It is all an empty chase. A human being's entire life is nothing but an empty chase. It is all empty socialization. And that isn't a good or bad thing. There's a particular human who will hear that and say, well, it is what it is, and that's what I like to do. And there's no problem with that. And there's a different human being who looks at that and says, well, that actually it's true. And that's eye-opening for me, and I don't want it to be that way anymore. And that isn't a good thing to realize that. Human beings have different levels of receptivity. Human beings are at different stages in their life in which they are more ready for the truth versus not, because the truth isn't a good thing, and one is not a good person for following the truth. It is what someone is ready for. They are. But I will say that the human being who's on a genuine path to truth is the human beings whose suffering eventually comes to an end. And the human beings on the path to society and friendship and socialization and relationship and trying to make themselves feel good and chasing happiness and trying to seek validation and have others like them and the whole societal game, that isn't a bad thing, but that can only lead to pain. That can only lead to misery. That can only lead to frustration. That can only lead to anxiety. There is nowhere else that can lead. Now, that isn't a deterrent. One should not feel deterred from pursuing the path of empty socialization, because if that's what's in their heart, then no intellectual deterrent will sway them from that. So at the end of the day, it is all about finding the truth of where someone really is. There is no good and there is no bad and there is no right and there is no wrong. You can better yourself day and night. You can read 900 self-help books a year if you wish. It will not do anything for you. You might become a little bit more this and a little bit less that. But at the end of the day, you'll remain the same. You will remain under the same illusions. Wherever a human being really wants to go is where they really want to go. And there are no rules. There are no precepts. There are no concepts. There are no stipulations. Spirituality is a farce. Self-help is an empty shell game. Friendship leads to enemies. Relationships lead to conflict. All things in the end go nowhere. But that does not mean that one need to separate themselves from it. It only means that if they wish to see the truth, that they can see things for what they are, while they very, very well engage with it. But to do something while knowing the emptiness and the strings behind the stage is one thing. But to do it while feeling that it is real when it ultimately is not, that only leads to endless misery.
Creativity or creation is, as you've said previously, it's like our God state, this infinite state that a human can be in. Whenever I think about entrepreneurship, I keep on coming back to this idea that it is just an abstraction or a more socially accepted form of slavery, but that is at odds with my own thinking. So I was wondering if you have any comments, statements, or questions.
Well, it doesn't matter what it is. It only matters what you're driven to do. And if you're driven to do X, but intellectually and conceptually you believe that X is wrong, it doesn't really matter, because the drive to do it will supersede your intellectualization of it being wrong.
Good evening. Thank you for taking my question. I was wondering if you could expound on a little bit more about understanding where the mind is going. When you say that versus watching one's thoughts, how do you not get tripped up in prescription versus seeing where the mind is going versus following?
The following the thought thing is just the other Buddhist parable nonsense.
Exactly.
It's all what you see. There's something that you have to, you absolutely must, if you are looking for the truth. This isn't a necessity, but if someone is genuinely seeking the truth, what they have to understand is that they're nowhere in this society, not in any religious text, not in any ism, not in any religion, not in any spirituality, not on any preacher, not in any motivational speaker, not in any book or media or newspaper or blog or podcast or whatever it may be. There is nowhere that they're going to go in this society and not find a saturation of prescriptions, because that is all humans are looking for, and the demand creates the supply. All humans know how to do is prescribe, and all humans know how to do is to ask for prescriptions. So if someone realizes that, and they really genuinely want the truth, then they will begin to see that there is nothing in their life, there is nothing in the world in which they've been seeking answers that is anything other than prescriptions. No matter how nice it sounds, or how spiritual it sounds, or how poetic it may seem, it is all prescriptions. And they must also understand not to turn no prescription into a rule to follow. It isn't that no prescriptions is a rule. There is no compulsion to follow it. But if one is genuinely seeking the truth, and they will see the futility of prescriptions, they will see that prescriptions will always lead them back to where they started. It is just a cul-de-sac. It can never lead them anywhere. So you can watch your thoughts until the cows come home, and exactly. 50 years later, you will still be watching them. If you look at if you look at the meditators, do they become enlightened? No, none of them. No. Not a single one. If you look at the ones who are following mindfulness, they're following mindfulness today, and 70 years later, they're still following mindfulness. And when they're told by the Buddhists, they're told, well, just keep practicing. Well, that's fine. How long did you practice? If the person's close to death, how many years do they have left to practice? Do they practice after they die? So everything that you must understand about human beings, you have to understand the source. And the source from which you're getting these things is a human. And a human is a prescribing machine. You will not find in your lifetime a single human being who will not try to prescribe to you and to make you do something because it's good for you, or give you advice to make you happier. Nowhere will you find that. So there's no outrage about that, no reason to be upset about that. But if you understand that, then you know that you will, if you go to a farm of barking dogs, you're not shocked because you expect dogs to bark. So in the same way, if you understand that it is the nature of human beings to prescribe, and it is also in the nature of human beings not to get anywhere in their life and to completely waste their entire life. And if you examine obituaries and cemeteries, what you will see is that every human being dies unaware. Every human being dies unrealized. Every human being dies unhappy. Every human being dies unfree. If you realize that, then you will not fall into the trap of listening to what people say. You will burn all your books. You will turn off your radio. You will not listen to anyone because you know that they will give you nothing but prescriptions.
I completely agree. I've been actually finding that as I'm following where the mind is going versus the prescriptions. So just thank you for taking the time to answer the question.
Sure.
Hi.
Hello.
I wanted to just give an observation and question. I've lived the misery of passing time and a lot of wasted time with work. I have enjoyed other parts of my life, but my observation or question is recognizing that nothing really matters other than the reality on this call of my own world and how it impacts me. I wanted to know what's your view in terms of, why does life even matter then if we're kind of all just passing time?
Life doesn't matter because what one calls a life are the events of their life. And that life doesn't matter. It is all putting out fires and doing chores. It has no significance whatsoever. So if there's anything in life that does matter being that it can bring you to a state of permanence and to an end of suffering, it is a devotional pursuit of truth.
Hello?
Hello?
So my question is, what causes self-doubt in an artist when people are saying that his work is bad, but he thinks that it's good?
Well, he's very interested in what others think of his work. And so long as an artist is worried about what others think of his work, he is no longer an artist.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, Dr. Gupta. Thank you for having me. I have a question here. You talk a lot about truth, but I don't seem to understand, how do you get there? Is it something like koans in Buddhism? It's something like your lies, or
No. There's no how to get anywhere. The reason that you're asking how to get there is because it is not your lifelong devotion. It does not speak to you more than anything else. Therefore, you view it in the same way that you're looking for where to buy a new pair of shoes.
Hi, Dr. Gupta.
Hello.
My question is, even really devoted athletes have cheat days where they eat pizza and lounge around.
Well, that isn't devotion. You're turning that into rules. You're turning that into discipline. That's fundamentally different. I'm talking about devotion to truth, not devotion to rules and principles that someone has made a rule that I will not have, carbs or sugar or whatever it is. I mean, that's menial stuff. That's very low level stuff. I'm talking about the devotion to something grand, devotion to truth.
So do you have...
Hi.
Hello?
First of all, I just joined this room, but I'm very interested in the authenticity that I hear in your voice as you're talking about the distinction between devotion and rules. A question that I've been pondering is, how can I be the most kind to myself and others? And I'm wondering how you think about that question.
Yes, you indeed are very new to this area. The self is a lie. Kindness to oneself is a chase. It has no meaning. You can be kind to yourself all you want, but you are simply a manufactured state of your mind. Your identity has no meaning. Who you think you are not. So your kindness to yourself is simply the mind being kind to the mind.
my question is, what do you think are the benefits of giving?
That's a very spiritual question. I can even hear it in your voice. If you want to give, you can give. There's no benefits. The kumbaya stuff, I mean, that stuff is poison. That's the kumbaya and the group enlightenment and the let's hold hands and sing and chant and the hippie generation and the long hair and the ponytails and the incense and love one, love all, and all is one. It's all BS. It's all nonsense. That is just as materialistic as buying a new car and thinking that the car is God.
Hi, good morning. I'm from India, and I have a question. How do you design a day for to seek truth?
So there's no designing of a day. There's no design. This is not arranging your room. If you genuinely want to seek truth, then you will.
Hello, thank you for giving me this chance to ask you a question.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
I just want to understand. So, is anxiety caused by a need for chasing pleasure? And
yes.
Okay, and so if a person suffers from anxiety, will that motivate them to search for the truth?
No, in most cases not. You have to understand the number of people who are searching for truth in this world, probably 5, and that may be generous in itself. No one is searching for the truth, and everyone is suffering from anxiety. But the human being who suffers from anxiety, and even you yourself, even though you may intellectually now know that it is from the chase for pleasure, that isn't really hitting your liver or your spleen. Something within you will continue to believe that no, I must seek this pleasure and that pleasure, anxiety be damned, and that's what you'll continue to do. If at some point, and it is very, very unlikely for anyone, if at some point something happens within you which says, I really am tired of everything, and the only thing that really speaks to me is to devote my life to the truth, then that will be the path that sets you on a journey to really become one of the rarest human beings in the world, not in a hierarchical fashion that you can get a gold star, but rarest in the sense of being able to truly experience and truly taste the permanence and the elixirs of life, and once having received them, never losing them ever again.
So how are those 5 people, I mean, how do those people become who they are? Because you're saying there are only 5 people. I mean, is this because
I'm being a little bit facetious, but you understand what I'm saying. Not that many. And there's no how they become anything. It is for whatever reason in their heart, the light for the longing of truth has awakened. Who knows why? It just has. And once that happens, there's no going back.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thanks for inviting me up. So I've been listening, and I think I get what you mean by the devotion to truth. I know that when I kind of lose the plot, I don't know if there's a better way to say that, but when I kind of lose the plot, it's oftentimes because I'm looking at what is through like some kind of lens that's either tinted by what I want the truth to be or my past experiences. So I guess my question is, how do you get past that so you can actually see what is?
Well, I'm not sure what you mean by the plot.
Like when you see something for when you don't see the truth because it's tinted by what you want it to be. Do you get what I mean? When you
so the human being is more enamored by seeing what they want to see than they are by seeing the truth. And that is simply the fact. And so long as one is in that place, there is nothing to do, because the greatest desire will always win. You can't cheat the desire. You can't intellectualize it, and you can't tell yourself, well, I shouldn't be feeling that. I need to be feeling that. That simply won't go anywhere. It's all self-help nonsense. Wherever you are is where you are. and it will never be otherwise.
So how
not to say that you will always be there, but what I mean to say that it will never be otherwise is wherever you are, you are, and that's the way it'll always be. Now, if you change in terms of your desires change, then that's where you are now. But there's no how to change it.
What if? So I feel, and I don't know if this is just, I don't know, my issue, but I feel like my desires oscillate. Like, I feel like sometimes I do see things in a completely, tinted way because it's driven or it's colored by my ideals or what I want, right? And then other times I feel like I can see things really accurately and acutely.
Yes. And that's like the sky, in which the clouds pass by and sometimes the sun shines through. Those are completely random and, as you said, oscillating states. But you cannot, where you will rest will always be in the oscillation until something inside you awakens, which says, for whatever reason that I can't explain, I genuinely am desirous of the truth more than anything else.
Okay.
Right.